on with your Thursday inspirational thought. You know, this week I was at the National Football League's Diversity and Inclusion Forum. Dr. Harry Edwards and Wendy Lewis gave a great presentation on looking at diversity with some different eyes. Most of the time we think about diversity as a black and white issue. We know that that is part of the issue, but it's much more larger than that. It's an expanded issue. It's a global issue. And if your business is not looking like the population you serve or the employees that are serving you, then you're missing out on an economic impact. So let's listen in on what both of these great individuals have to say. So what are the three things that you were talking about here at the NFL Diversity and Inclusion presentation that was just so profound? I mean,
well, I think that there are three things that we have to understand. But first of all, we have to understand that nothing happens, nothing changes as a consequence of it being right or it being constitutional or it being moral. Things change because of a combination of factors, particularly in terms of inclusion and diversity. One is a dependable, competitive, and competent pipeline of prospects to fill positions. The second is an ongoing, pervasive demand, sometimes rooted in morality and constitutional edicts and so forth, but that demand has to be there. And the third thing, which is perhaps even more critical, is that there has to be a compelling need or a compelling interest on the part of the entity that is being pushed to make changes. Because if there is not that compelling interest, if there is not that compelling need, then any changes made will probably be nominal, they'll probably be short-term, and they'll probably for the most part be undefensible. If there is a need, then it will be in a situation that the black athletes found themselves in. If there is an interest, we'll be in the situation that baseball found itself in when they brought in Larry Doby and Jackie Robinson. There was a need, and so the group, the numbers of blacks in baseball expanded. The number of black athletes on college campuses are principally in the revenue-producing sports of basketball and football, because there is a compelling interest on the part of these mainstream Division I programs to have the best athletes in their revenue-producing sports. They don't find us in downhill skiing and water polo.
They could.
Yeah. Not that we can't do that.
Right.
It's just that there's no compelling interest on their part to bring those athletes in.
Outstanding. That's an inspirational thought for today. And you go forth and inspire the NFL, diversity and inclusion. And what are the 3 points that you, or a couple of points that you were trying to make today to the group as we were talking over lunch?
First of all, putting things in the context, we talked about just the changing demographics around the representation of multicultural people, people having lifestyle differences, and most importantly, the economic value that they bring to the equation of our sports businesses, and our sports businesses reciprocally bring back to them. So we sort of boiled that down to calling it shift happens. So that was probably the best way to start. And for our whole diversity infrastructure, really we've rebuilt that and retooled that to be a much more economic impact, strategic development in baseball. The number counting is still there, the compliancy components are there, but that's not what's driving it. What's driving it now is collaboration, creating revenue streams, and really in impactful ways engaging those communities. And lastly, to me, one of the most important components of having this meeting and demonstration of real diversity strategy is really taking a very critical view and a leadership role around supplier diversity. The supply chain element, I believe, creates instant stimulus packages within our organizations and as well as the communities we serve. And I think the day for sports to sort of, in an aggregate way, really get around that community piece in terms of business development is way overdue. I literally think we can transform community and lives by doing it.
No doubt. So, like Wendy said, shift does happen, and Wendy's an inspiration. Now you go forth and inspire your world.